Good morning, everybody. Welcome to what we're doing. Oh, yeah, TikTok. Morning to TikTok. Morning to Facebook and YouTube. Good morning, guys. Thank you very much for jumping on the live. Straight away, coming and saying hello as always. If you are already on, we will do a top 5 shortlist. Give it a couple of minutes. It's a bit dark and a bit dull and a bit dismal this morning, but we're all good. We are all good. Yeah, there we go. It is Thursday, the 5th of December. I'm not putting on. Should I need my big light on? Does that make it better? Is that a bit better? I don't know. I'll put my big light on. I was trying to resist it, but we'll put the big light on. Anyway, yeah, it's Thursday, the 5th of December. 5 days of advent calendars. Done and dusted. Actually, I'm doing my advent calendar. When do you do your advent calendar? I'm doing mine at night time. It's my little like nighttime treat, as it were. Oh, let me get my chat box up for YouTube and Facebook, just in case anyone is coming and saying hello. Right, let's do the top 5 this morning. As always, guys, this is a weight loss live. I'm here to help you guys out, answer any questions that you might have. So if you've got any questions, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, get them in, and I will do my very, very best to answer them. No, let me scan up. Oh, Dodsy's in, number 1, doing the top 5. Just on TikTok. The top 5 is a TikTok exclusive. Paul is in at number 2. Sheila's in at number 3. Lynn is in at number 4. And Helen is in at number 5. As always, guys, thank you very much for jumping straight to the live and coming and saying hello. Always means a lot. You know, I like it, you guys sort of jump. Oh, Neil's on live. Let's go on and say hello. Donna, good morning. Ryan, good morning. Anna, Alana, Karen, G, good morning, guys. Paul is in, been backtracking and stayed within my calendar yesterday. Lovely to hear that, Paul. I know you've been struggling a little bit recently, and that's actually going to be the topic of today's weight loss coaching live on the Facebook group. We're gonna, I'm gonna switch it. I was doing what was I doing this morning? I'm gonna do this one next week, actually. So I was doing this morning, getting back to it in 2025. I'm like, that sounds like a next week live, because that is the last weight loss coaching live of 2025. Yeah, that's going to be it for 2025. Then we'll get back into it, obviously, in 2025. The week before Christmas, there'll still be lives on TikTok and Facebook, YouTube streams on Mondays and Thursdays. But yeah, the weight loss coaching lives will be done next week. So this week, I'm switching up. I'm not doing getting back to it in 2025. This week, I'm going to do December struggles. All right? Because I've had them myself, if I'm being honest with you. I know we're only 5 days into December, but there's kind of like a little bit of a switch gone off now we've hit December. And I am like, Christmas mode, holiday mode, you know, be right. So we're going to talk about that. Yeah, we're going to talk about that now. Well, in today's Weight Loss Coaching Live at 10 a.m.-ish. You know, I'm not the best at timekeeping. It will be a 10 a.m.-ish one. Yes. Karen, good morning. James Rizzi, good morning to you. Who've I missed? Calorie counting made harder by you sneaking them Christmas chocolates in my protein box. Yeah, absolutely. So if it is your first ever, the Christmas Bossy protein boxes sold out pretty much instantly. So thank you very much if you bought one. I was tempted to up the stock and do a few more, because the Christmas ones went really well last year, but I didn't. And they have sold out. So I'm sorry if you didn't get one, but they are gone. But yeah, with the Christmas theme box, protein bars, there's only 10 protein products in the Christmas box, because I always spend a little bit more. Like, the quality of the protein products in the Christmas box is amazing. It's an amazing box. And then, yeah, instead of putting an 11th protein product in, I took a few Christmas treats in, because it's Christmas. December struggles, I told you. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the box. I think it's a belter. Got my protein box. It's brilliant. Thanks for the extra bits. Not a problem at all. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Faye, good morning. Right, have we said good morning to everyone? Yes, protein box is immense. Brilliant. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, I always try and do kind of like a Christmas themed box. Now, not everyone has got their box yet, and it is a mystery box, and I know a good few of you guys enjoy receiving like the surprise of the boxes, as it were. There is one out for delivery today. There's 5 in transit still. I always get a bit nervous this time of year because every are not very, they're obviously very, very busy. And I'm looking at people's, so I'm like, yeah, I sent your box off on Monday. Why has people's been delivered and yours hasn't? But anyway, they're all off. The only person, Dodgy, you'll just wait. Your box might come today, probably be tomorrow. I don't know why my Shopify would not let me generate a shipping label for you. I was generating a shipping label, then my computer crashed, and I think it crashed the system. So yours is tracked 48 with Royal Mail, whereas most people's are every. Unless you order a box from Northern Ireland or you're in the deepest, darkest, highest reaches of Scotland, because every charge a fortune to deliver up there. You will get it Royal Mail anyway. My husband works at every. He's run off his feet, I bet, and I get it. You know, it is that time of year, and you've got to make hay while the sun shines. One thing we should never, ever be doing this time of year is giving delivery companies grief. They're absolutely mobbed out, you know. And I saw yesterday, Yodel have basically said they're not doing next day delivery at the moment. They just can't guarantee it. My mate works for DPD, and the other day he was dropping my parcel off, and he was like, "You are and I would check the tracking in the morning. He's actually dropping one off this morning as well. I'll tell you about my parcel this morning. I just need to do it as a bit of a rant or a bit of an event, but also to promote a company because they are absolutely, well, I've not got it back yet, but I assume it'll all be good. Anyway, my mate DPD, and he was like, normally when he's delivering to us, he's like, you are parcel number 54 of 89 or 100. I think the other day we were parcel number 75 of 230. But he loves it. He's like, he gets paid per delivery, so he absolutely loves it. Have you not noticed at the moment on Prime, you're struggling to get next day delivery on Prime, right? So obviously you pay Prime, it's next day delivery. Like if I go on now for a lot of stuff on Prime, it will be delivered on Saturday or even next Monday, because it's just the time of year and it's absolutely packed. I sent it Vinted via Yodel and it took 12 days to arrive. Faye, don't. So, as you might know, I am into my trainers. I absolutely love my trainers. And I do buy and sell them a little bit, and I do trade them a little bit. And with it being Christmas, I've put some of my trainers on, and I sold a pair the other day for a lot of money. A lot of money. And I've sent them off, sold them through Vinted, sent them off through Yodel, and it says estimated delivery. And I sent them off on Saturday morning, and it's Thursday now, and he's still tracking the and I'm like, do not. I mean, don't get me wrong, with Vinted, they're pretty good. You're officially, I think, covered for the cost of the item. But I'm like, until they arrive at their destination, I'm literally like, please get to that destination, because if they do get lost, I think I'm covered through Vinted. But it'll take forever to get my money, and I want my money. All right, Alexa, I don't need to know about the FTSE 100. Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. Alexa's just decided to tell me about stocks and shares. Thank you very much, Alexa. But anyway, it is just absolutely. I've sold quite a lot of stuff on Vinted actually recently. T-shirts and stuff, 5-10 quid. Not bothered about. These traders are like, please just get there. This is what happened to mine, and it ended up saying if they lost, they would give me £500. Well, that's the thing. These trainers are not far off 500 quid. That's my thing with them. So I'm like, right, they. So don't get me wrong. If I was, I mean, they're meant to cover, aren't they? What you think, but yeah, they're not far off 500 quid. So some very lucky lad whose mum bought him these trainers. So they're just hope it gets there anyway. Right, let me scan down. He's got over 400 parcels today so far. That is absolutely bonkers. Again, if it's pay per parcel, you'd have to make hay while the sun shines. It's something I've thought about doing myself. December, I'll be honest with you, December's quiet for me. right? And I don't mind that. I kind of have a bit of a chill out month. I kind of have a wind down, but because my every is January. January's always really busy for a weight loss coach for various reasons, but December's really quiet for me. And I thought about doing like Amazon. What's the Amazon one where you can register? And I'm like, because don't get me wrong, I've got bits to do and I'm doing my accounts, but I have got a couple of days spare and I'm enjoying having a bit more of a chill out. And, you know, I'm doing some content at the moment, but I'm winding down my content creation. Obviously, I have got some, you know, you can still sign up to my one-to-one plan if you want to make me a little bit busier. And I will write your plan up and I will send it over. Anyone that's waiting for a plan, I usually send them out Thursday tea time. So I've got 3 people who have signed up this week and they're going to start in January. But they're starting in January. And I also find quite this time of year, a few people do go AWOL. So they don't, you know, I've noticed that over the last couple of check-ins, things have calmed down a little bit because people do go AWOL. And I'm trying to keep people going and I'm doing check-ins all the way up to Christmas with clients. But yeah, I have thought about going on to, is it like Amazon Flex or something where you just register and you can go out for a couple of days? I've seen a few people do it. And I don't know if it's the case, like, you know, I know a lot of people only sing when they're winning, so they show these days. But I'm like, I was watching a guy the other day and he went out for like 4 hours. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's not hard work and hard graft, but he went out for 4 hours and earned like 130 quid. I was like, I could do 4 hours a couple of days this week and earn an extra few quid. But anyway, I like working. I've got a good work. So when I'm quiet, like you always get quiet at times. Like August is always a fairly quiet time for weight loss coaching, whereas September's always very busy. December, everyone's sort of gearing, winding down for Christmas. Whereas, you know, January's always really busy. But I don't like being quiet. I don't like being quiet at all. I'm struggling with all the freebies and staff canteen. Trying not to look. Yeah, it is hard. It is hard. Like I say, December struggles. But struggling with water retention. I weight train would stopping the creatine and add magnesium help. No. Look, creatine is an amino acid. I've got creatine gummies here, right? And creatine, when you first start taking it, causes a little bit of excess water retention. That's the whole point of taking creatine. Now, when you say you're struggling with water, do you mean you're struggling with water? No one struggles with water retention. Unless your body is really swelled up and you've got things like cankles and stuff, which can be quite uncomfortable, especially if it makes your socks tight. No one struggles with water retention. Water retention is a good thing, right? We should retain water in the body. You have to. If you don't, you're dead, right? So when you say you're struggling with water retention, and if you're like, well, yeah, but I want to get the scales down as low as possible, I just feel a little bit bloated. That's nothing to do with creatine. Yeah, creatine increases water retention in the body, not by loads, but it increases water retention in the body by storing water in your muscle. It doesn't store water in your midsection or in your, you know, it stores it in your muscle and it just makes your muscles a little bit harder, right? And once your body gets used to having creatine in, some of that initial water retention stored from creatine loses itself anyway. So yeah, you might hear a lot of people go, creatine causes creatine causes water retention. That is a side effect, but it doesn't cause that much. Maybe, you know, if you load creatine, when I've not done creatine for a few months, and I will get back onto it in January, right? I sort of cycle it a little bit for no reason to cycle it. It's not like the body builds up an immunity to it. I just get lazy with taking it. But I do notice the difference when I do take it. So I'll be back taking my creatine in January. And when I start taking creatine, I tend to load it. So I normally supplement 5 milligrams a day. For the first 10 days, I'll do 10 milligrams a day. That will cause an increase in water retention. I don't mind that in January because I'm carrying a shed load of water retention anyway from Christmas, so I won't even notice it. Right. And then after 10 days, 2 weeks of being consistent with taking my creatine, it will calm itself down and it will. So, yeah, I don't know why you say you're struggling because of like with water retention. Like water retention isn't. Someone only struggle with water retention if they're holding so much, it's causing them a discomfort, right? You know, seems to be hitting a plateau at the moment. Any tips? Yeah, get back into a calorie deficit. That's it. Now, when people say I'm hitting a plateau at the moment, right? If you've got on the scales for the last 2 weeks and you've not lost any weight, don't change anything, right? plateaus like that or maintains like that happen. Like I say, you've got to educate yourself about scales. Scales do not show calories in, calories out, just alter fat loss or fat gain, right? That's what they alter on the scales. But the scales measure your weight. Your weight includes, depending on how you weigh, can include clothes if you're wearing clothes. But in terms of the body itself, your when you get on the scales, it includes your bones, it includes your skin, it includes any, facial hair, not that that weighs anything, right? But it also includes food that's sat in your system. It includes water that's sat in your system, right? It includes water retention that we've talked about. So the scales represent your current weight. They don't represent your current fat, right? Lots of things cause the scales to fluctuate. If you lose one thing but gain another thing, the scales will stay the same. So you might lose a pound. If you're weighing weekly, you might lose a pound of body fat in a week, but you might gain a pound of water retention because, yes, you're doing it within your, very common this time of year. Calories don't really slip, but health slips, right? So calories in, calories out determines fat loss, fat gain. Calories in, calories out determines consistent weight loss or weight gain, right? So short periods of time, right? Like I say, water weight, food weight, body fat loss or gain, all this gains of anything will fluctuate the scales. If you want the scales to consistently come down, the only way we get the scales to consistently come down, you can't consistently lose water retention or food weight because there's only so much in the body, right? And like I say, initially when we start a weight loss journey, we might get a whoosh effect where we see. I just realised I'm neglecting my Facebook and my YouTube. We might get a little whoosh in the body, and those drop down, but they don't drop down consistently. Once we've got rid of our whoosh, right, which is like excess food weight because we've been eating too much because we're overweight, excess water weight because we've been, that doesn't really play a big factor, but excess water retention because we've been unhealthy and eating more salt than we should do, eating more refined carbs than we should do, eating, again, being lack of activity, lack of movement, right? We get that initial whoosh, so we see quite big drops for the first couple of weeks on our weight loss journey. Then that all settles down. Yeah, you'll see fluctuations going forward. But the only way you consistently bring the scales down is by consistently removing the big factor, and that is body fat if you are overweight, and that's by being consistently in a calorie deficit. So it depends what your plateau is. So at the moment, like I say, you might still be bang on with calories. I'm bang on with calories at the moment. Yeah, I'm not quite sticking to my ideal calorie deficit, but I'm certainly not going into a calorie surplus. So I'm not gaining any body fat at the moment. Just my fat losses might be a little bit smaller because I'm not quite smashing the calories that I want to consistently hit. But what is slipping for me at the moment is health, right? And health is wealth, right? So health is wealth. And what we mean by that is, health is wealth. That's not what I'm going into. But what our calories are made up of determines our health. But what our calories made up of can also determine our water weight, our food weight, our water retention. Now, if your calories are slipping to more unhealthy foods, that will actually reduce your food weight a little bit because you are consuming less volume, because more unhealthy foods are more calorific, calorie dense. But if, a few Christmas chockies are creeping in here and there, and that is within your calories, Christmas chockies is refined carbs because there's a bit of sugar in them. The more refined carbs, let's say, not that we track individual macros on a weight loss journey. You can if you want to, but it's pointless, right? But let's say on average, like for me, normally, if I did track my macros, my split would be around about during the week 50% carbs, 30% protein, 20% fat. Right, that would be my sort of standard split for, I eat about 2,000 calories during the week, say, for instance, during the day, maybe a little bit more some days, a little bit less other days. And I normally have about 250 grams of carbs. Carbs are 4 calories a gram. That would be 1,000 calories of carbs. So then I've got another two, and I'll normally have about 150 grams of protein, maybe a bit more. Protein is 4 calories a gram. So times that by 4, so 600 calories of protein. And then, obviously the rest is made up of fats. I'll actually have a bit more. I normally have about 160, 170 grams of protein. So maybe I'm at 50% carbs, 35% protein, 15% fat, something like that. This time of year, because I have a couple of Christmas chockies are creeping in, and I might have two instead of having maybe a Muller Light or something like that after my tea, which does have some carbohydrates in it, of course, but it also has a bit of protein in it. I might trade the 80 calories of Muller Lights for 2 miniature heroes, which is 80 calories, right? And little things like that. So maybe my macro breakdown now, and again, we don't track individual macros, there's no need, but whether it's gone from 50, 35 to 15, it might be 65 carbs. The one thing that's going to give way is certainly protein. So I might slip down to 20, 25% protein. And then my fats might increase as well. It's like 20%, right? This increase in carbs will increase water weight in my body. Right, that's it. That's all I'm getting to. Yeah. So if your plateau is a week or two, or it's fine. We only need to look at plateaus or maintains if they are over 4 weeks. So if you're 5, 6, 7 weeks into a plateau, scales haven't moved since beginning of November, then we might delve in. And the reason the scales haven't moved consistently if it's over 4 weeks is because you've gone from being in a calorie surplus, calorie deficit, and you're mooching back into more towards calorie maintenance, or you're in a calorie maintenance. And again, this time of year, it's quite a common one, really, because there is a lot more temptation knocking about. Trays at free sweets in the canteen at work. People bringing mince pies in. More social occasions. We've it might seem Christmas now is less than 2 weeks away. Right, it's 2 weeks on Christmas Day is 2 weeks on Wednesday, right? So literally, we've got 3 Saturdays before Christmas. If you've got, trying to catch up, it'll be very, very common for a lot of you guys now to have every weekend booked up. Now, we've kept this weekend free, right? Right, we have, but next weekend I've booked up. The weekend after I'm booked up. I've got a few bits on in between, and that is, it's going to be trickier. It's going to be tougher to control our calories. So, this time of year, I know we might be wanting to make massive inroads in before Christmas, and we're panicking about things, and we're like, I want to smash my weight loss, and I want to do this all the way up to Christmas. Trust me, I'm exactly the same, but we do have to accept it is a bit of a tougher time of year, and we need to kind of appreciate that in a way. Really struggling getting to the gym since the colder weather. The weather really making me lazy. Yeah, very, very common. I mean, you're answering your own question there, Adiola.99JA. The answer is just go to the gym. Don't, put an extra layer on. But I get it. This is tough. It gets tough. And we do have, look, this is real life, right? In an ideal world, the weather wouldn't change anything. But the weather does change things. It changes our mood, right? It changes whether we want to get out of bed or not. Right, it does, and that's kind of part of mood change. Trust me. This time of year, am I going to be as motivated going to the gym at 6? If the only time you can get to the gym because of work, because of commitment with kids, is at 6 a.m, so you might be like, I get up, I get to the gym at 6, right? I train for an hour, I get home at 7:15 before my kids are even out of bed, right? My partner's still in bed, and they'll, partner will go tomorrow or whatever. We all say, I've got loads of friends that do that have got kids, right? And trust me, is it easier to drag yourself out of bed at 5:15 in the morning to get to the gym in June when it's light in the morning? You can, you might just need a light hoodie on. You can still wear pretty much your gym gear. Is that easier to drag yourself? Yeah, you're always going to get your gym freaks that are like, it doesn't matter what the weather is. I like to be heads all year round. And, if you're dedicated to the gym, it won't matter if it's -5 or if it's 20 degrees when you get up in the morning. You're always going to get people like that. But the honest truth is, in real life, in reality, for a lot of people, the weather, the seasons do change things. So I wouldn't be too harsh on yourself, but the honest answer is you just need to grit your teeth. Now, if you went in summer 4 times a week to the gym in the morning, try and drag yourself out your pit twice a week, right? Have a look at the weather for the week, mornings where it's really, really cold, go, right, I'm not even going to push myself to go. I'm not even going to push myself to go at this time, but you might look and go, actually, do you know what? On Friday morning, it's not, the low's overnight at 6, so it's a bit bit comfier. Or look at different times to go, just say, right, in winter time, I'm going to go on my lunch break, or I'm going to go on Saturday mornings when, I don't need to rush in the morning, or just try and mix it up a little bit, At the end of the day, I understand it. I do understand it, right? But, and this is just for me personally, and this is different for everyone, the gym is so important to me. It wouldn't matter if I could only go at 6:30 in the morning. I'd go at 6:30 in the morning. But I know everyone doesn't have that same mentality. And you can't drag people to have that same mentality. It's the same with steps. A lot of people in the winter talk about, I struggle to get my steps in. I never do. My steps are so important to me. It doesn't, in summer, I go and do my steps in shorts and t-shirt. Yesterday, I was doing my steps in my North Face Parker jacket. That's the difference to me, the thickness of layers when I go out and about. Now, don't get me wrong, when it's absolutely tipping it down, do I, in summer, if it's raining and it's warm, I'm just like, right, let's go get some steps in. This time of year, when it's cold and it's raining, I will look for breaks in showers. If the weather is particularly bad all day, right, then yeah, the dogs, I'll get them out, but it might be a couple of 10-minute blasts rather than a 30-minute and a 20-minute walk that we normally do, But, also what we need to understand as well with things like steps is a lot more important than going to the gym. But we also need to understand that, we put way too much emphasis on exercise. Now, the main issue with not training or going to the gym on a regular basis is it's going to affect your mental health. Do I want to do that for all of winter? Absolutely not. But if you were going to the gym 5 days a week and you're like, I can't get to the gym 5 days a week because of the weather, right? Even if you can go twice a week, it'd still be great for your mental health. In terms of fat loss, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. Mince pies with me, I shouldn't have bought. I love a mince pie. I do. I've said this on my content recently. It's coming out today. I reviewed. I've got the Greggs mince pie coming out on Christmas, worth the calories today. I said this the other day. Christmas cake, not interested. I'll eat it. I'll eat out me, right? I always say this is my surprises. I ain't a fussy eater, right? I'll eat pretty much anything that's put in front of me. But Christmas cake, take it or leave it. Christmas pudding, I don't dislike it, but it's not something, Christmas pudding, can't wait for that on Christmas Day. No. Pigs in blankets, I absolutely just want a bath in them, right? Why do they not do them all year round? Right? Just do them all year round, right? Forget this Christmas tradition of pigs in blankets. Maybe they won't be a special then, obviously, but anyway, mince pie, so for me. Oh, I tell you, one of the best mince pies. I've not had one this year yet, right? If you want to know, so I've just reviewed the ultimate mince pie from Aldi, the 469 calories. Don't get me wrong, they're quite caloric, but they are absolutely sensational. I'm talking shop bought mince pies. The best mince pies are from my local bakers down there. They are, maybe it's a bit more sentimental than anything, or nostalgic, not sentimental. Just reminds me of being a kid. They've been the same for years and years and years, same tradition, but they are a top tier mince pie. They really, really are. But do you know what? One of the best is the deep from Morrison's Bakery. Their deep filled mince pies. And I'm going to go, I don't think I had one last year. Shock horror. I don't think I had one. I can't remember. I'm going to go get some, actually, and I will do them for a Worth the Calories video. But they are absolutely awesome. Pastry. They actually look a bit like, they're obviously a frozen mince pie, They just bang them in the oven when they want to put them out on the shop floor. But they are a top, or they always used to be one of the best. The Morrison's Bakery deep filled mince pies. They used to be one of the best out there. I have to lose a lot of weight for a hip replacement. Lost 20 kilograms, amazing. Next appointment in Feb. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. With 20 kilograms, you've lost 3 stone. That's really, really good. I'll be honest with you with the NHS. They do set these like parameters around BMI, especially when you're having something that's weight bearing. So a hip's weight bearing, right? So they're not necessarily going to do a hip if you are like morbidly obese, because there's no point. It makes pain management miles worse. Someone that's 25 stone that has a new knee, A, you're going to be putting a ridiculous amount of pressure on that new knee from the off, and B, the pain management of the pressure of When I was 37 stone, I got plantar fasciitis. I couldn't walk. Right now, as I was losing my weight, I still had plantar fasciitis. I've not had it for years. Actually, I had a flare up of it in 2022, and it was nowhere near what it was. And I still got all my steps in. I had a flare up of it in 20, and it was painful. It was painful, but in when I got plantar fasciitis at 37 stone, right? Yeah, I could hardly I couldn't walk. I couldn't walk. I was bedbound, right, with it. Whereas at 19, 20 stone when I got it, it still was painful. I'm still a big guy. I'm still putting a lot of pressure through my feet, but it was much more manageable. And that's another reason, having new knees is apparently one of the most painful things you can have for about 12 weeks. The heavier you are, the more painful it's going to be. So, but at the end of the day, if you need a new hip, it's debilitating. And it's a bit of a catch-22, isn't it? They want you to lose weight. You don't need to exercise to lose weight. I'm actually going to do a response to this. I don't know what everyone's feelings are on this, and I wouldn't mind hearing your opinions on it because I don't want to trigger people too much. But I did the other day a bit of a post, and I actually misread the comment a little bit, but the basic information was the same whether they're maintaining or gaining, right? But I had a lot of people having discussions on the post, and it's actually had a few views, like 20,000 views. And it was basically around someone saying they're eating 1,600 calories. They're working 14 hours a day. They're eating 1,600 calories a day, or they're struggling to eat it, and they're not losing any weight. And I'm like, well, you're not eating 1,600 calories a day. Basic principles of it. That's the video. But I've had a few people commenting going, I eat 1,200 calories a day and I'm consistently losing, and I eat this and I'm losing. And I'm like, you're starving yourself. Some people can stick to low amounts of calories. For most people, it generates inconsistency, but we'll get that one. But I've had a few comments on the post saying, I've had a few people asking, I'm disabled, so I can't exercise. How do I lose weight? And as we've said, exercise isn't the be all and end all of thingy. But yeah, I've probably had about 4 or 5 comments of people saying, I'm disabled, I can't exercise. And I'm like, why does a disability stop you exercising? Now, don't get me wrong. Look, some people are severely disabled. Like if you've had a really bad accident, there's some people that are paralyzed from the neck down. I get that, right? But, I'm like, what some people class as a disability might just be arthritis. I'm riddled with arthritis, right? But I exercise on a regular basis. I go to the gym. When I used to teach spin on a regular basis, and I actually saw him in the gym the other day. I've not seen him for ages because I only ever saw him when I taught spin in the evenings because he works full time. And he's a lad called Ed. Really good guy. He's got MS. And he goes to the gym 4 or 5 days a week. Now, can he train the same way as an able-bodied person can train? No, but he's just adapted his training. There's a young lad that goes in, and I'd love to get him on maybe a podcast or have a chat with him, but I don't know how to approach it without sounding like I always have a natter to him, and he absolutely drives me on. I love it when he's in the gym because it just makes me. And he's got cerebral palsy. He's got cerebral palsy. And something that annoys me about Ruby Hall Village Gym is it's upstairs and there's no lifts. And this young lad with cerebral palsy comes in and sometimes he has a stick, sometimes he doesn't. He climbs all the stairs, and there's a fair few stairs, to get in the gym. And in the gym itself, it's on different levels. And he climbs these stairs and he goes in and he walks on the treadmill or goes on the cross trainer. And then he'll go in the gym, and obviously all the exercises that he does, his weights, he does them sat down because his balance isn't very good. But he sits down, he lifts his weights, he does his bit, he does quite a lot on the resistance machines because obviously it's a bit more stability for him. And as soon as I see him training, it makes me train harder because I'm like, what? Sometimes I can't be arsed today. That lad has dragged his bum in the gym upstairs with cerebral palsy and he goes in 3 times a week, right? At least 3 times. I generally see him 3 times a week. We tend to go in at the same time, and it was like amazing, right? So I'm like, where have we got to as a world where, and then I'm like, with the disability thing, I'm like, is the Paralympics just a myth? Like, you've got people with all different, and what people class as a disability is obviously any sort of impairment, isn't it? You know, it can be mobility issues, it can be deafness, blindness, you know, it can be, unfortunately, if people, you know, have lost a limb or something like that, and or just weren't born with, you know, were born a little without, you know, I don't know how to put it politically correct, the correct formation, is that right? You know, and I'm just like, why are we using all these excuses? It doesn't matter whether you're disabled or not, you can exercise. Yes, it might be a bit tougher and you might need to adapt and you might not be able to do everything, but you can exercise. Does that make sense? And I'm going to do a bit of content on it. I'm going to do a bit of content on it. But I just want to I've just got to touch, like, you know, I want to do it without triggering people too much. You know, maybe I won't do. I don't know. I'm umming and ahhing about whether to, because I know it's going to trigger some people. Used to go to the leisure centre. The gym had some machines specific to people with disabilities. Absolutely. And, you know, and don't get me wrong. If you've got, you know, I've got arthritis in both knees and both my hip, and it's quite debilitating. I walk with a bit of a limp. I'm in pain all the time. With it in various degrees. I have good days and bad days, like a lot of people do. And on a good day, I feel great, and my joints are fantastic, right? And for me, right, if I transferred my knees to a fully able-bodied person, they'd be like, "You live with this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just used to it. It's part of it, you know." And they're like, "You teach a spin?" Yeah. And sometimes I do my spin class, and I'm in pain for 40 minutes while I do it. One thing I've noticed with my arthritis in my knees, since going back spinning, it's got better. And this is another thing where I always say movement heals the body, right? It really, really does. Healthier diets heal the body, but movement heals the body. You know, a lot of people, I've got arthritis in my knees, I'll just sit down 24 hours a day. Yeah, I'm not saying if you've got arthritis in your knees, it hurts. But the more you move, the better it'll get. It really is that simple. It really, really is that simple, you know? But yeah, it's yeah, I don't like these excuses. Yeah, well, I'm disabled, so and I think the comment that triggered it was, because I'm disabled, I have to eat 1,000 calories a day to lose weight. And again, I have no idea. This person hasn't got a profile picture. They've not got any content on there, so I can't see what their disability is. And don't get me wrong, the less we move, the less calories we burn on a day-to-day basis, right? And therefore, the less calories you're going to be able to eat to get into a calorie deficit. Now, what I tend to do is when my clients come on and they have issues with their mobility, and that could just be down to the fact that their obesity stops them walking as much. Same as me when I started my weight loss journey, I was 37 stone. You know, it absolutely killed me just to walk for 5 minutes. But as I lost weight and as I tried to move more, it got easier over time. So I always take this into account. But if I do generally get, and I've had clients that have come on board that have been non-weight bearing, is it harder to exercise if you are non-weight bearing to increase your calorie burn because or move, you know, on a day-to-day basis? Yeah, it is. You know, we have to appreciate that. So, you know, don't get me wrong. Again, Paralympics, you've got people that do 5,000 meters in a wheelchair, and doing that with your arms is as knackering, if not, is more knackering than walking 5,000 meters or running 5,000 meters. But again, not everyone has the ability to push themselves around in a wheelchair and stuff like that. So again, we have to take this into consideration. And if I get clients that generally are non-weight bearing or, you know, really, really struggle with mobility, sometimes it's a case of I just have to, the only option is to put them into a smaller calorie deficit. You know, so I might calculate their calories because they've got a low level of movement. Now, if I get someone on board, and I ask this, I say, have you got any mobility issues? I ask all my clients whether they, you know, my one-to-one clients, I don't get involved with the community. You know, with the community, I ask them what their steps are, any exercise they might do, and then I also put any other relevant information. Now, if people join my community and they come on board and go, yeah, I've got this, and this condition, of course, I'll take that into account when calculating their calories. And then I might but if they don't give me any further information, I just treat it as they're able to do the steps and they just don't do them because they can't be asked, right? And that's kind of the reason, you know, there's no excuse. There's no other excuse to not do a decent amount. If you're fully mobile, right? Even if you're in a bit of pain with a knee or an ankle or something like that, you know, and I do get people that are dead honest with me. Yeah, I've got a bit of a dodgy knee. It doesn't really stop me doing anything. Don't use it as an excuse. Love that. I absolutely love that excuse. I love that. I love that honesty, you know, and I love that honesty, right? It's like me, I average 11,000 steps a day. I've got arthritis in both knees and one of my hips. I've got arthritis in both my hips, but I've only officially been diagnosed with my left hip. So I know it's in my right hip as well, because I'm sat here now and I'm stretching it out and tweaking it a little bit. But my knees are the worst issues, you know. My left knee, I'm bone on bone. I've got no cartilage in it as well. So it's just crumbling. But it is what it is, and you've just got to get on with it, you know. I think you're using that as an excuse, and exercises is good for the heart. I faint when my heart rate goes up, so it's not so straightforward. Okay, so why do you faint when your heart rate goes up? A lot of people do. That's nothing to do with fitness levels or not being able to exercise. It's managing your heart rate, right? So a lot of people get what we call blood pooling, and this is what causes fainting. Fainting is basically when the body resets itself, right? And the brain just sort of, you know, like if you press the reset button on your computer, right? That's kind of what fainting is. It's just the body shutting itself because it's not quite sure what's going on. So it puts you into safe mode and then boots you back up again, right? And a lot of people get that when they're exercising because they're exercising wrong, right? So people take their heart rate too high when they're unfit, right? So there's a big thing. You've got to walk before you can run. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people might have a medical condition where, so what blood pooling is blood goes to the brain, right? And we have quite an even flow of blood around the body, right? When we start exercising, because we need oxygen to move our muscles, the heart, very clever, and the brain will start putting more blood towards a certain area. Because, so when I'm doing spin, right, I'm spinning, all I'm pretty much using is my legs, right? And therefore, the muscles in my legs, my quads, my calves, my hamstrings, right? All the muscles, all the little muscles in my legs, right, are getting used. To make my legs move, to make muscles move, muscles need oxygen to move. Blood carries oxygen. So my brain tells my heart, right, you need to pump more blood, you need to concentrate more blood flow towards Neil's legs to get the oxygen there to power his legs through this workout, right? And because it does that, it then limits a little bit of blood, or it unevens the blood flow around the body. So the brain gets a little bit less, not loads less. Your brain gets a little bit less, your arms get a little bit less, right? If you then jump, and this is the same if you're doing running or any exercise that's using your legs, and this is the same with doing other exercise as well, but it's more common with the legs because the legs are further away from the heart and further away from the brain. If you're spinning for 40 minutes, right, and it's intense, it is an intense exercise, this spin, and then as soon as you stop, you just jump off your bike. And I tell my class members this all the time. It's up to me whether they do it or not. But I say, right, we're going to have a nice cool down now. We're going to try and bring your heart rate back, right? Because if your head's like blood, legs, then you jump off your bike, right? And the body goes, oh, don't need blood to the legs anymore. Whoosh, it'll whoosh it up to the head again, right? And it kind of does a reverse. And when it whooshes up to the head again, you go lightheaded and faint, right? And then the body panics a little bit. So you faint, right? That resets the body, it reboots itself, then you get up and you're like, whoa, what happened? That's called blood pooling. So when you're doing something like spin, yeah, just sit on, I try and get everyone in the class just to sit on the bike for 2 to 3 minutes at the end of the class, reducing the resistance, slowing the spin down, bringing the heart rate down. So it might have been at 150 while you're doing your spin. We need to bring it down to at least walking pace before you get off your bike, things like that. But that can happen with any exercise we're doing. I don't know, Nick might have some medical conditions around it and stuff like that, you know, but that generally, if you're fainting because your heart rate goes up, it's just because you're exercising incorrectly. You might be going at it like a bull at a gate. Like I say, if you've got an underlying medical condition, right, that causes, you know, when your heart rate goes up, it stops blood flow to the brain. That would be the only reason, or it reduces blood flow to the brain, or increases actually blood flow to the brain. Then that might be the only reason, but I've never heard of anything like that. Yeah. Right, let me scan that. And this can happen for any reason, by the way. Blood pooling is just an uneven blood flow. It happens to everyone. It's a condition that everyone has. It's just a bit more prominent in certain people. So certain people never faint. I've never fainted in my life. Never fainted in my life, right? Don't get me wrong, I've probably been on the cusp a little bit, but when I've been training, if I'm doing like a HIIT session or something like that and it's really intense, but I know the signals and then I'll just chill my beans. But it can happen like going from cold to hot. You could go out for a walk, right, in really cold weather. This isn't that common in the UK, but it's quite common in like more Nordic countries where it's very, very cold. You can get all wrapped up and your face is really, really cold, right? And then if you go from like cold to hot, right, it can cause it very, very quickly. Likewise, if you go from hot to cold, it can cause it. So a lot of people get faint on holiday because they're just overheated as well. And again, the body can faint in, like I say, fainting is kind of the body shutting itself down and reset. It's kind of like I say, it's a safe mode. It's a warning sign to you, like it's not quite happy with what's going on. But you might have been on holiday and it's 35 degrees and people are drinking alcohol and this, that, the other, bit of dehydration. Again, it can happen for that as well. But again, if you've got an issue where raising your heart rate, then don't raise your heart rate. You can still exercise. Exercise isn't about taking your heart rate to a ridiculous amount, right? We have a resting heart rate, right? And resting heart rate is when we are sat, chilling our beans, maybe just on the sofa, when we're asleep. Being asleep is one of the best ways to rate your resting heart rate because lots of things, you might be sat on the sofa watching TV, but if you're watching a horror movie or an exciting film, it can affect your heart rate, right? Likewise, I'm sat down now doing this live, but just talking means my jaw, which my jaw works a lot. I've probably got the strongest jaw on the internet, to be honest with you, because the amount I talk, right? But just talking, there's muscles in my jaw that make my jaw do this, right? They need oxygen. So my heart rate, when I'm doing a live, is going to be higher. Plus, if you've ever noticed, I'm really animated, right, when I'm talking, right? My hands are all over the place. And even when I do my content, people always, if I'm advertising about, oh, can you hold this? I'm just a hyperactive person. It's just who I am, right? So, it's my heart rate's elevated now. When you're asleep, it's the best way to get your resting heart rate, really. Or when if you just sit on a sofa in an empty room with nothing on, with your eyes shut, and just get your breathing right, you might put your heart rate monitor on your Apple Watch. It's pretty accurate. And then you can just sort of look. But resting heart rate. And if you take your heart rate, anything above resting, you're increasing your heart rate. I wouldn't say, now for something to be classed as cardiovascular exercise, I would say you're going to take your heart rate 60-80% of resting, right? If you want to go, and that's aerobic exercise. If you want to go anaerobic exercise, that's when you take your heart rate above 85% of resting. So there's lots of different things, but if you can take your heart rate, let's say your resting heart rate is 60 beats per minute, right? And you take it to 95 beats per minute, which would be about walking pace. If you do that for an hour or two, it's exercise, but you're not spiking your heart rate up. Right? Does that make sense? What's the best way to try avoiding loose skin while losing weight? You can't. I'll always be honest with you guys. I could sit here now and go, do you know what? I'll show you the way. Sign up to my plan. I guarantee you'll lose 10 stone. You won't have any loose skin. You can't do it, right? You just can't avoid it. It's you either have it or you don't, all right? Skin is elastic, right? It has an elasticity to it. And anything that has elasticity to it, I always have like rubber bands like this, right? This is a rubber band, right? And it has elasticity to it because when I stretch it out, it snaps back, right? But if I got 2 clamps and stretched this rubber band out like that for 10 years and undid the clamps, it wouldn't snap back. It would lose its elasticity because it's been stretched out for so long. It might come back a little bit, right? Skin is no different. Now, don't get me wrong. We're all different people. Some people, I've said this loads. I coached someone, they lost 10 stone. They didn't have much loose skin at all. But this girl that I coached that lost 10 stone, she only really gained a lot of weight from being 17 and she lost her weight at 23. So she'd only stretched her skin out for 6 years, right? So less, like I said there, if I stretched this out for 5 minutes, it wouldn't make a jot of difference to it. It'd snap back. If I stretched it out for a year and held it like that, it would lose its elasticity. So, and the skin is no different. It really is no different. But it's all down to different people as well. You know, I had someone that lost 4 stone. They weren't, if you looked at them, you wouldn't be like, they're that overweight. They carried the weight quite evenly around their body and a bit of a tummy on them. But they'd always been that weight for about 20 years. Right. And they were just like, yeah, they were like, do you know what? I put a little, and it was from having a baby. Now, obviously, that changes the skin as well. But this client they'd always been around, they'd never been a skinny mini by any means, right? They were 5'4" and always hovered around 12 stone, right? Which isn't a major weight issue at all, but they were skinny mini, right? And then from having just had one baby, and they said during the pregnancy, they gained 5 stone. So they went from 12 stone to 17 stone in like 9 months, right? Actually, it wasn't from having a baby. They gained about 3, and then from having the baby as well, and they just got a bit complacent and they're stuck at home and this, that, and they went up to 17 stone. And they said, and they after having the baby, I think they dropped down a little bit, but they've basically been 16 stone for 20 years. So they had the kid at 24, they were 44, they've been 16 stone. 12 stone up to being 24. That was it. And they lost their 4 stone. They lost 4.5 stone. They went down to 11.5 stone. It was the lightest they'd ever been or they could remember as an adult, but they had loose skin. And don't get me wrong, some of it was from obviously being pregnant because that stretches the skin out as well. And again, you know, some ladies don't have any loose skin on their tummy. They get pregnant and then they end up with some loose skin, and that's just stretching the tummy out for 9 months. But again, it depends how big your bump is and stuff like that. So it's there's a few different factors, but generally you can't stop loose skin. And one thing I will say is the more obese you are for the longer the period of time, you're just going to have to accept that you're going to get loose skin. I struggle with it massively, right? I struggle with it massively in at the start of my weight loss journey with my loose skin. And I kind of realize now why I struggle with it, or the reasons why I, you know, or a big contributing factor to why I struggle with my loose skin is because I actually thought I looked better at 37 stone in the mirror than I did at whatever, 22 stone, 23 stone, you know, that I was in 2016. So I'd lost 14, 15 stone. I was like, I look better. The reason why the main contributing factor to why I felt I looked better at 37 is because that's what I was used to. I was used to looking at that in the mirror. So I didn't even notice being 37 stone, right? Does that make sense? Right? It was what I was used to. And within the space of, 18 months, 2 years, I dropped 14, 15 stone. And it was something totally new. Now I look at myself in the mirror, I'm just used to me now. So I don't really notice my loose skin. I know I've got jowls on my face from my loose skin. In summer when I've got a t-shirt on, I always show my bingo wings. That is what it is. And when I'm in the gym and I'm doing like bicep curls, whatever, all this gathers here and it's noticeable to me. I can see it there. It's not going anywhere. I can't get rid of it. There's nothing I could have done through my weight loss to prevent it. It's just part of that. This is still the remains of 37 stone Neil. You just get used to it. And I actually now look at it as a trophy. This is the achievement of what I've got. That bingo wing, unless I get it chopped off, ain't going anywhere. And as I get older, it will get worse. Skin thins and it will get worse. But yeah, I'd love to sit here now and tell you loads of things you can do to prevent loose skin. There aren't any. There genuinely aren't any. Does collagen help? Nothing. Honestly, collagen's great for your condition of your skin, right? So if you're someone that has, look at that. Maybe I need to go and do that. Get a bit of Botox. It might surprise you, but I've never had Botox in my life. And I'm not about to start. Oh, God, I just pop myself in there. So, yeah, no. Collagen is very good for the condition of your skin. Right, really, really good. So if you're someone that, you find you lack of colour, you find your skin's just poor quality, vitamin D, good for your skin. Collagen's good for your skin. There's lots of nice creams out there, moisturising stuff that's very good for your skin, but collagen won't help with loose skin. No, I tried. What is it? Is it bio oil? What's it called? Where common to put on stretch marks and stuff. Someone said that'll tighten your loose skin up. I started lathering myself with this. It cost me a bloody fortune. Does nothing. Did absolutely nothing. It just is what it is. But it's just things like, if you have things like eczema or dry skin, or like I suffer a bit with psoriasis, then things like collagen and different moisturizers and vitamin D and will help that, right? But it won't, loose skin is your skin losing its elasticity. Nothing puts that elasticity back, right? It just doesn't. And really, the only, kind of the only remedy is surgery, really, to get it removed. Now, I'm 10, 11 years into my weight loss journey. I have had some loose skin removed on the front of my body, but I've still got a lot of loose skin left. And maybe it helps that I can't see my foot, but I'll be honest with you now, if I still had this loose skin at the front of my body, I would have learned to accept it a lot more than I had done. And the honest truth is that, now, would I rather have all my loose skin and not be morbidly obese? Yeah, 100%. Like, would I trade my loose skin that I've got now, for 12 years ago, only 12 years ago? It is a long time ago, but it isn't. It's still quite fresh in here at times. I was struggling to get out of bed, right? I was struggling to do my own personal care, going to the toilet, having a shower, right, at 37 stone, right? I used to live in squalor. Right? I never let anyone in my house, or when I moved back in with my mum after my dad died, I wouldn't let her in. I used to live in squalor. I was filthy, right? Personal hygiene, I always did my best with it. It's something I've always been conscious of, but I fully am aware that my personal hygiene was, and now I'm just like OTT. I'm like OTT, with personal hygiene. Like when I did the meetup in Manchester the other day, I'm like, I've got to get home. I've got to have a good shower, creams, aftershave, did a little spray before I got. I'm so OTT with it now, which isn't a bad thing, right? It really isn't a bad thing. No one will ever say, and no one ever said I smelt before, but I personally knew my personal hygiene was not as good as it should be, right? And you might be like, well, that's disgusting. Yeah, it was. That's part of being 37 stone and not having the ability to move. And when I watch programs like My 600-Pound Life, and they show like the little montages at the beginning, and they generally show this person getting up in the morning, right, and struggling to get in and out of the shower and struggling to clean themselves. And sometimes they have to have the partner come in to wash the back and get into like folds of the skin. Yeah, that was me. Right. And I didn't have at the time, certainly for the last few years, I didn't have a partner. I'm not going to ask my mum to come and wash me. No chance. So I just did the best I could. Right. But it was flipping hard. And it used to exhaust me. It used to take me 30 minutes to have a shower sometimes. Like, 'cause I was knackered at the end of it. Right. So, yeah, would I ever go back? Because if I went back to 37 stone, I wouldn't have the loose skin. My fat would fill it back up again. No chance. Give me the loose skin all day long, I'm the same, lost 10 stone, had the surgery to have skin removed privately. Yeah, I was quite lucky. I had 2 surgeries done on the NHS. I had one I paid for privately. Any other surgeries, for what my arm's doing now, my back, my legs. I'm not lean enough at the moment. What do you want? Well, I'm just on a live. Flipping dog wanting to play or wanting a treat. It's hard. It really, really is hard. And yeah, would I trade it now for where I'm at? Absolutely no, I wouldn't. Would I have any more loose skin removal done? Yeah, maybe if it started causing me issues. At the moment, I'm not lean enough to. When I last had my last skin removal surgery done, I was 2.5 stone lighter than I am now. So, and don't get me wrong, if I decided to have more skin removal done, I would put at the moment with my weight loss journey, I'm I'm maintaining. I've chipped away at my weight this year. I'm currently about 20 pounds down from the beginning of the year. I'd like to do the same again next year. I'm not in a massive hurry. You know, if the NHS come to me, if I got issues with my loose skin, the NHS were like, "Babe, what do you want? What do you want? I'm done now. I'll come in a minute." Flipping dog's telling me they want a flipping treat or a fuss. Anyway, yeah, if the NHS could have said, we'll do the skin removal on your hips and your back, but you've got to be 16 stone by June, I'd be 16 stone by June. I wouldn't enjoy it, right, but I'd do it. Right? It wouldn't be healthy, wouldn't be sustainable, but could I drop 3.5 stone in 6 months? Even without even thinking about it, I could do it in 3 months if I wanted to. Again, I wouldn't want to put my body through that or my mindset through that. But if I had that offer, I'd do it. So yeah, but it just is what it is. I resonate so much that story too much. Webby, good morning, mate. Hope you're all good. Webby 1979 has lost also a tremendous amount of weight, and yeah, and I don't think people. Like, I'm not trying to say there's no empathy there, but like 37 stone, and I was 6'5", so I carried my 37 stone, I say fairly well. I was a big lad, right? So I say I carried it fairly well. You know, someone like, "Were you really nearly 40 stone?" I'm like, yeah. And I think I carried, 37 stone at 6'5" compared to 37 stone if someone's 5'6" is two totally different weights. And I get that, but it's you're super morbidly obese. Like the impact it has being that way, and now I even just walking around, and I don't judge anyone whatsoever, but I have empathy. I see certain people if I'm out and about, and yet that are super morbidly obese. There's a lad in the local town where I go to. And I see him walking around every now and then. I saw him the other day, and he's got to be a good 30, 35 stone. He's got to be up there. Probably maybe a little bit more. He's probably not far. He's a bit shorter than I was, so he looks bigger. And I see him, and I'm just like, I just know what he's struggling with on a day-to-day basis. And it is. I was used to fight with this. I used to, and maybe it's my misunderstanding. A lot of people call obesity a disease. And I was like, it's not a disease. You catch diseases off other people. But it is a disease in a certain way, right? It really, really is. It is an illness. I class obesity as a mental health disorder. That is what I class it as. That's why I don't think I class it as like a disease. A disease to me is something like, a bit like a virus. Like if someone is 10 stone and they stand next to someone that's 30 stone, it's like, oh God, you've got the obesity disease. You're now 10 stone, right? You're now going to be 30 stone. It doesn't quite work like that. Obesity is a mental health disorder. You only get to being super morbidly obese from emotional eating. That's how you get to being 37 stone, right? And when you're emotionally eating, you eat whether you're hungry, you eat whether you're not. You're just eating as a constant distraction from your life. And that means you consume a ridiculous amount of calories. And to get to being 37 stone, you need to consume a ridiculous amount of calories, even if it's over a long period of time, right? And it's not every day; it's always on an average and stuff like that. But yeah, I class because one of the biggest things I've done to lose my weight and to maintain the losses is I've sorted this out. Right, I've got to go. I've got my DPD delivery coming, and I'm going to go grab it. I said at the beginning of this live, I need to talk about my DPD delivery. So, if anyone wants to get into vlogging or making content, I generally just use my phone all the time. But I found since I started doing more YouTube videos, it's not as practical because when I'm doing this live now, I can see myself because I've got a front-facing camera, exactly the same as this. And you need to be seeing what you're doing. When you're using your phone and you want it to be better quality, you've got your phone the other way around. Now, I can see what I'm doing on my watch from my phone. But anyway, so I invested in a DJI Osmo Pocket 3 camera, which it's absolutely amazing. I read loads of reviews on it, absolutely sensational. It's a 500 quid camera. I invested and bought the full creator kit, so I got the mic and everything with it, so it was quite a bit more. I've had it a week, and I dropped it on Monday. I dropped it. And the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 has a lovely little 2-inch OLED screen. And guess what hit the floor first? Picked it up, shattered the screen on it. And I'm like, oh, God, I've ruined my camera. What can I do? So I'm straight on Google. Who repairs these? Nothing. Anyway, emailed, went on the DJI website. I've not got insurance for it. I didn't take it out. I'm one of them people. Registered that I've dropped it. I've smashed my camera. I smashed the screen. And literally within 10 minutes, I got an email with a link to Royal Mail. So I packed up the camera. This was on Monday. Took it to the post office Monday morning, right? With this skin, scanned it off. Tuesday. Was it Tuesday? Or yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. Got an email from them. We've received your camera. This is the quote to fix it. 85 quid. Don't get me wrong, it's 85 quid I want to spend, but I was expecting it to be way more, or just to go, camera's knackered, it's done, you need to buy a new one, 500 quid. Great. So 85 quid. So paid it, PayPal, through the thing. Then got a phone call from them saying, hi, thanks for paying your payment. Everything all right. We'll send it, we'll authorise the repair now. Then I got an email at about 4 o'clock last night saying, DPD have got your DJI and it's coming in 10 minutes. Amazing, sir. That is unreal. Now, don't get me wrong. Now I'm going to buy the 3-year service plan, which is 50 quid, which I should have done in the first place, because they have said to me, yeah, once you get your camera back for repair and that's all logged, just buy the service plan for 50 quid and you drop it again, send it off free. It's just £10 then, right, to pay the postage. And obviously when it's a vlogging camera, you can't around. So if you want to do any vlogging or you're thinking of getting into it, right, get yourself the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 Creator Combo. It's 620 quid. I know it's a lot of money, but it's my job, or it's part of my job. I highly recommend it. It's an amazing piece of kit. And the camera itself is unreal. Just don't drop it on the floor because you smash the screen. But I'm getting it back this morning. I broke it on Monday. I broke it on Monday night. I set it off Tuesday. That was it. I set it off Tuesday, but I broke it Monday night. Right? And I'm like, I dropped it going into the kitchen to record my overnight oats video. Right, and I'm having a breakdown, and Christmas is ruined, and I've just chucked 600 quid down the drain. And literally 3 days later, it's coming back to me this morning. Now, I don't know if it's fixed properly or not, but I assume it is. So anyway, I recommend that camera. That's my little plug for DJI. Anyway, there we go. Right, I'm out of here, guys. I've obviously waffled on a little bit, and I've got to wait for my delivery. So the 10 a.m., if anyone asks in the WhatsApp, I'll put it out actually now. The 10 a.m. Weight Loss Coaching Live, I'm going to do it in about half an hour. So I know I'm always a bit late anyway, so we're going to do it at 10:15. So if you're on plan in the community, if you want to come join my community, it's £5 for your first month using code WELCOME. You get a full calorie breakdown, you get access to Weight Loss Coaching Live, Zoom sessions, private Facebook group, private WhatsApp groups. It's an amazing place to be for £5. So if you sat there now going, ooh, what calories should I eat in January? So come sign up to the community. I'll work out calories. You can have them now, right? You might have a little dabble with them before Christmas, but then you've got it for January. £5 for your first month. That is it. Right, if you want more help than that, my one-to-one plan, my next start date is the 6th of January. I've got 3 people booked in for the 6th of January. I am only going to start 10. I'm on one single day because then that will fall in 2 weeks for check-ins, and I've got to even check-ins out. So if you're like, yeah, I want to get into my weight loss journey straight away in January, my first start date is the 6th of Jan. There's 7 spaces left to come on my one-to-one plan. $29.99 to sign up. That's all you need to pay now. Your next payment will come out when you start your plan in January on the 6th of January. So chuck 30 quid in, book your place in. I'll write your plan up now. I'll get it sent over today, tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday next week. So again, you'll have it. You'll have your plan. You can have a little look at it. You might have a little dabble for a couple of weeks before Christmas if you want to. You'll get instant access to the community as soon as you sign up, and then you'll be ready to go on the 6th of Jan. And if you sign up now, you'll be covered for all of Jan, all of Feb, all of March on your weight loss journey. Not for $29.99. There is a monthly subscription after that, but it is a minimum 3 months commitment. All right. So you sign up now, $29.99. Then you'll pay $29.99 on the first when you start in Jan, which will be the 6th of Jan, 6th of Feb, 6th of March, and you're all good to go for the new year. So if you want to get signed up, get signed up now. Right. Have a great Thursday. I will be back tonight at 8 p.m. And you guys on plan or in the community, I will see you, if you're free, in about half an hour. An official sign off to you guys on YouTube and Facebook, and I'll see you tonight at